Welcome to the Rebel Scum podcast. I can't think of a clever way to start the show, so we'll just get into it. I am Brock, and this is
James.
And we're going to talk Star Wars and Star Wars affiliated projects.
Affiliate. Thanks, everybody, for watching the roundtable yesterday. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. It's Black Friday. If you're shopping right now, be safe. Or I'd imagine most of you already did your Black Friday shopping because it's,
Yeah, look up because there's so many dropping prices. Oh! That's not how it works. But also watch out for people that are going to push you over.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But I think that already happened because this is nighttime. Do you do Black Friday shopping?
I've always wanted to go to the States. I do it here, but it's usually like Black Friday in Canada is like, oh, here's the sales now. So it's not as crazy just because of the pricing here. Like in the States, everything is like profoundly cheaper because of whatever reason. So that's an actual deal. I don't feel like Boxing Day is a little different, is a little similar to that, but like
I about 5, 6, 7 years ago, a bunch of years ago, Black Friday first kind of came here in a big way, and for a year or two, the sales were incredible. Yeah, and then now it's like our Boxing Day sales, which are kind of like they're not like amazing. You want to be like, this is the best deal ever, but you can't. It's just not that great. It's great to be in the same room as you right now. Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's I'm here, but we gotta get this done because I gotta go back to work.
Yeah, so please, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe. If you wouldn't mind, that would be fantastic. It helps us. Even if you don't like us, just hit subscribe, and then there's a notification bar. You can click that so you can watch our videos. And if you don't want to watch them but you still want to subscribe, just click it so it doesn't go on. There's different ways to do it. We're going to talk Last Jedi today because we didn't do enough of it yesterday with the round table, an hour and a half or whatever was it. That was not enough. We had to do this one today. But what I wanted to talk to you today was Daisy really made a comment about Snoke, and she referred to Snoke as being a man, and then she said, if you can call him one. If you can call him a man. Would you take her comments in those comments at face value?
Maybe. My initial reaction to it is like, oh, he's so evil that he has no gender, that he is just a entity of some sort, which could work, which would be great because then it's easy. It's like, he's your villain, there he is. Now let's follow the characters and see what happens. Though it's I think you're sort of referring to more of like, does Snoke have a gender, or are we looking at Snoke as because I think we assume it's a he, because Snoke isn't really a name that says male or female, but Andy Serkis acting as Snoke, we just assume it's a male. He has a male voice. I just did it right there. So it's, I don't know, but it's an alien. We don't even know that. We don't know if he's an alien. He's 10 feet tall or 9 feet tall or whatever. So we assume he's not human. He's humanoid for sure. But that's the thing. I think we've talked about this before with like Admiral Holdo being bisexual or lesbian.
Like bisexual.
Bisexual, which is great. But like Star Wars seems to be almost devoid of sexuality. Like I don't like look at like a Wookiee or a Rhodey and be like, I wonder what the parts look like. I don't think those things because it's not really relevant. But at the same note, we know that there's procreation in Star Wars. Like, I am your father, and this is my son Ben Solo. Like, it happens.
It happens. It has to happen for things. Well, unless you're Anakin, then it doesn't have to happen. Yeah, when I heard that comment, it struck me because I know there were early rumors or in the original draft or something, J.J. Abrams had said that Snoke was a female or could have been female. Like, I don't think when they cast Snoke, it mattered who they got, and obviously they went with Andy Serkis. I think in this day and age, if you got Andy Serkis to play a female on screen, how would that be acceptable nowadays with all the outcries of minority roles and whatnot? Yeah, like what? Like, so you took away an actress's part and gave it to a male performer, right? Like that for me is the weird part of all of it. Is like, how would people accept that? I think Snoke. And her comments to me are twofold. Maybe is one, maybe he's not a male or female. Maybe he's, because of whatever species he is, he could be, or maybe he's so evil that I've had this thing where perhaps Snoke is just pure dark side, living in the galaxy, and now he's taken a form and that's why it's an old decrepit man type form, and maybe that's what she meant. Like, yeah, he's kind of a man, but he's not really a man. I don't know if I'd call him that. So I think there's a few ways to go about it. I don't know if I take anything anyone says right now at face value, because we're so close to the date, and it is kind of crazy. I haven't really been watching any of the TV. I don't know if you have the TV spots or the new trailers or anything.
Yeah,
for
I
it.
have.
I watched the Tempt one, the newest one. Josh did a video on it and at the Den Nerds, and I figured yesterday, because we were doing the round table, I'm like, I need to see something.
Yeah.
And so I watched that one, and I don't know what it shows. I mean, I know what it shows, but I don't know in what context it's showing it, because you see something's calling to Rey. There's light, dark, and something else. And then I believe Luke says, listen to it. I didn't. And then he goes, Rey, 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 like that. That is very curious to me. What the hell is that? And Josh believes that connects to Snoke. And for my thinking is, if Snoke is pure dark side, because we know that he was around when Ben Solo was in the womb, and he's been in Ben Solo's life his entire time. But everything we've read, he's never been there. Snoke is never around. Yeah. Unless, of course, Snoke. But even when you say, well, Snoke might have been character X, who is character X? There's no thread that pinpoints who it is, except for perhaps like a dark side. The Force itself. The Force itself could be Snoke. That's the only thing I can think of. And when she says that other thing, could that be Snoke?
Possibly. It's so random what he is. Like, or it is. I don't know what to say. Like, I am just flabbergasted about, like, what could he be? I really don't have an answer. But to what you've just said, is he just a walking force, or part of the Force? That'd be cool. I'd be very, because then that's sort of like, I mean, I look at him and just sort of like, he's like a human, but he's bigger, which I know is sort of an understatement. Like, you see that kind of in like the idea of like ancient gods. They're human, but they're slightly taller. I just kind of see that in Justice League, where you see this massive fight between Steppenwolf and the first, the Amazons and the Atlanteans, and there's like even the gods show up, and there's just these taller people in the background. So it's like, so like if a force like the Force was like, oh, I'm gonna send somebody down there, and he's gonna look like them so he can blend in, but he doesn't look like them at all. It's like it can't comprehend. But then like it kind of goes against, like, I feel the Force is just like, it's not thinking like that. It is what it is, and we are, and human and Force wielders are people of the galaxy are just reacting to it. It's like the Force kind of doesn't have a plan. It doesn't care. It's just there. It's just a energy source of some sort. But yeah, I could get behind him being created by that. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. Your thoughts?
That 40 seconds, whatever was 30 seconds, that spot was awesome.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want to watch it because I'm going to see the movie in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But at the same time, it's like, it's right there. I don't want to not watch it.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm always optimistic about this movie, because it's just like, they can show me the same thing and just slightly change it, and it's like, yeah, this is awesome.
This one was what we saw at Star Wars Celebration. I see light, I see dark, but then she sees something else. And then Luke, I got to watch it because I only watched it once. But I'm confident Luke says, listen to it, or let it call to you, because I didn't. There's something there. Like, Luke missed an opportunity. Yep. And what the hell was that opportunity? That is, like, this is a new X factor to everything. That was an opportunity that was missed by Luke. And was it because he was so into his belief in the Jedi Order that he wouldn't allow something else to intervene? Because, like, if you believe in something and someone's like, but there's also this, you're going, no, but this is where my focus is. This is where my focus is. You're not going to accept it. But then, as you get older, you start to realize, oh, you know what? I should have let that in, because that is actually, it might not be the right path, but I needed that to figure everything else out. And that is like, what the hell is calling to her? And I said yesterday, maybe it's Snoke calling. I think Josh believes it's Snoke because at the end of the Force Awakens novel, she hears a voice saying to accept the dark side, and it's Snoke, obviously, right? So that's why you'd think it was Snoke, but Snoke is a voice in her head, not a feeling, not a light side, a dark side, and something else. And the gray area.
Possibly. So you're saying he's not a villain?
Snoke?
Yeah.
No, he's a villain.
But he represents the gray, or
no? I right. So it changes now. Maybe what she's sensing has nothing to do with Snoke, and it is like this gray where there's light side, there's dark side.
Yeah.
But there's also this middle area.
And that's calling.
Yes.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to call it the gray because I know the gray pisses a lot of people off. We call it the middle area.
This new, like what I keep calling the new status quo,
yeah.
Star Wars, or this just new and the age of the Force. Yeah, I could believe that because we do get a sense that Luke sees something new to wielding the Force, and perhaps there is more to it. I mean, it kind of gets hinted at to a little bit in Dr. Aphra. Maybe not so much what we're talking about here, but the idea that like Jedi and Sith in the past they didn't do what you see at the current day Sith or Jedi, or the fact that like history tends to reshape what we think is true. So that could easily happen as well to like Luke with his search for the history of the Jedi or whatever, just to learn more about the Force. He's like, wait a second, this goes against everything that I've been told so far. So what is the truth? And maybe that I think is why one of the reasons why I think the Force is just it's an energy source. It's not there to be good or bad. It's just how you use it. So like, because it's just like, it's all interpretation, I mean, you make mistakes, Yoda could be considered to have made mistakes several times, you know what I mean? And the Sith make mistakes because it's like, when you think about it, it's like, why didn't the Emperor just like stop and just listen to the Force and be like, oh, there he is? Why didn't he just shoot Luke? Why, if he knew all those things, but he likes to play things out, and it's a better story too.
And he's arrogant. And,
yeah, exactly.
And that
so it's like,
yeah,
I mean, it's one of the things about Star Wars where it's like everything's sort of shrouded in mystery, or something's just a slight misinterpretation. So.
Yeah, I can't wait a couple of weeks to get the answers to everything that we're talking about. We will have nothing to talk about for a long time. Oh, by the way, immediate reactions will be on the Rebel Scum podcast Instagram account. We'll put immediate reactions in the stories and probably on our feed as well. I'll do one, Brock will do one, and Rob will do one, and Aaron will do one, I believe. Andrew is seeing it on the Saturday, and he will do one on the Saturday. So follow us on Instagram, Rebel Scum Podcast on Instagram. You can see our faces around the thing. So you can get the immediate reaction. Then right after, we will do a review of it, and that should be up a few hours after we do that. As soon as we can get it up to you, we will get it up to you for sure. December is going to be a lot of fun. We have from December 1st to the 14th, there will be a video on our channel every single day.
Wow.
Every single day. And if you want those videos a day early, join our Patreon. We're on Patreon for $1 a month. You get all of our shows early. Plus, you get our new show that we're working on about the Clone Wars TV show, Cloning Around. That's for $1. For $2, Andrew is, we're all going to be working on, but Andrew will host it, I think, is the Star Wars Unleashed documentary, where we do little cool documentaries on Star Wars, and then you get everything else as well. For $3 a month, you will get all of the other stuff. Plus, you will get your email theories, questions, whatever you want, read on Scavenger Scum and on this show. And for $10 a month, you get to be a Rebel Scum yourself, and you get to appear on Vote of No Confidence or Duel of Fates every once in a while. And Duel of Fates is coming back, everyone. If you saw the announcement, Josh is taking on Rob McDonald in a trivia contest on December 11th, so you got to check that one out. I can't wait. Do you think Rob will win again? It's all Force Awakens questions.
I think he's got a match set for him because Andrew is, for lack of a better term, too weak-hearted. He's just like, But Josh is a stone cold killer, so he will be ready, and he will not have an opportunity. And great, I think it's to be a battle of the ages.
I can't wait for it. All right, let's move on. By the way, I'm obsessed with the new Crystal Fox, the Vulpix. They did a behind the scenes. I don't know if you saw it on StarWars.com. I think they did a behind the scenes on them, how they got made, how they're half like puppets and everything. Yeah, really cool. They look cool. Hope they serve a purpose. We talked about them yesterday briefly. I don't know if I'm going to like them more than Porgs still, because I really like Porgs, but they are so cool looking. I hope they serve a purpose in the film.
I get the sense like it's when you read the description of it, it's like they became crystals because they ate the soil of whatever. Or they're just so ingrained with grains. Like, are they eating the salt? Amazing.
I just hope they do. I hope they serve a purpose more than C2B5 and Rogue One.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think they will.
All right, let's move on to Never Tell Me the odds. Odd number 1, Brock. The odds of Rey Skywalker turning dark. See what I did there?
What about Rey Kenobi?
No, she's always good.
I'm going to go full Brock on this one. 50-50 because I have no clue. But if I had to give a real answer, I guess I want to say 35% because I just can't see her going evil. I think it'd be too confusing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go full Brock as well. We talked about yesterday her and Kylo becoming Sith. I think that would be super cool if they both became bad guys. But are these movies just going to be people flip-flopping between the light and the dark side? How much longer are we going to put up with that? So I'm going to go full Brock on that one. The odds of Luke having created Snoke.
Oh, I like this one a lot. Again, it'd be a full Brock, but I am intrigued by it, so I'm going to go 65. I want to go 70 because I want to say 70, but I feel like that's too, yes, it will happen. So 65 because I'm optimistic.
I'll go 70.1.
Ooh, 70.1. .934.
Yeah, I it's kind of a, what if he did something with the Force that created
What if he unleashed him? He unleashed the Force.
Oh, that would be kind of cool though. And that's something that we haven't seen happen before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that it all kind of fits in. And this one near and dear to my heart: the odds of Billy D. Williams ever portraying Lando in a live-action Star Wars film that takes place after Return of the Jedi ever again. And when I say that, I mean Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Episode 9, Episode 10, Episode 11, 12, like that. Will he ever appear episodically again?
I want him to be, so I'm going to say 75%.
Yeah, I'm going to go 68.9. I want him to. I mean, if he's not in there yet, he could show up for the very, very end of 9, which would be nice if you're going to wrap it all up. But that's if they wrap it all up. Who knows what they're going to do?
It'd be amazing if they brought him in and they'd be like, Lando, where have you been? I've always been here, just off camera. And they just show all the major events where he's just sort of there.
How awesome would it be, though? If you go back, though, and you watch your Force Awakens Blu-ray or whatever, and they've somehow put him in it, and you're like, what? How did I never notice that? But he's in the background, hidden hard back there. All right. Let's move on to a segment we like to call, What Up, Star Wars?
What up, Star Wars? What up?
This is a segment where we go to our phones or tablets and we type in the word Star Wars.
This is the part of the show where you watch us Google things.
Last Jedi on track to break box office records. Yeah, they're saying it's going to be north of 200 million.
Wow.
How Star Wars the last...
I just thought of that being considered a flop of
It's
a
a
movie.
flop. Well, this is something that happened where Andy Serkis says that what drives Snoke is pain and greed. We talked about that briefly yesterday. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting choice of words because you don't really pain seems humanistic, greed seems villainistic. Ooh, pain can happen to anyone, either good or bad or in between. So it's interesting to put those two things together. So I almost when I hear it, it's like, oh, are we going to have sympathy for the devil?
I hope we don't because I'm sick of sympathetic villains.
Oh yeah.
I honestly I am. Every time there's a villain, it's like, well, actually, he thought he was doing good, or she thought she was doing the right thing. Shut up, they do not. Villains. You know what's cool about Palpatine is he's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of Snoke being in pain, maybe physical pain or something like that.
Well,
or
his face is half destroyed.
Or the pain that he can't take over the galaxy because there's a Jedi out there that can stop him. I like that idea. I don't like the idea of, well, I really just made a mistake and I think it's all going to be good by the end of it. I'm not into that. All right, let's move on to the part where Brock talks for endless amounts of time in Hollow News.
Hollow News. What's going on? Hollow News. I'm opening my email and looking for the rundown. Here it comes. Hollow News. That's a song I just made up. All right. This is a really cool story. Laura Dern was in an interview. Was this the EW? Yes, EW. Is it weird that EW is doing a second magazine on Star Wars? Did you see that? Like the next one's new stuff. I'm like,
they're
weird.
hyping it up.
I mean, it's great. I want a copy, but I was just like, that's different. But she was interviewed and talking about her character of Vice Admiral Amelin Holdo, and it's, there's a question of, is she replacing Leia? Which, when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, I guess she could do that. I mean, obviously that wasn't originally the plan, but of course she steered around it. She says she's become the Resistance new leader in the aftermath of The Force Awakens, which involved the villains using a great big space laser to blow up the capital of the space government. I'm reading this from the article. It sounds like she'll immediately butt heads with Oscar Isaac's Poe Dameron, who is loyal to Leia and is wary of his new boss, the different approach, and her purple hair. Speaking of it sounds like Holdo's look was meticulously controlled. Everyone was painstaking over not only the look, but even the exact color of my hair. Oh, where is it? She looks at the character looks at the bigger picture and sacrifice for the good of the whole, whereas Leia, at least in the original movies, was more about grabbing a blaster and getting, wow, there's cursing in this, getting work done. At the risk of spoiling the movie, the problem means that there will be a moment where Holdo gives some order that Poe doesn't agree with, and he'll do it. All that stuff is all stuff we've heard before, that Poe and Leia are going to side against it. But I found that interesting that like she's the new sort of de facto leader, because as we know, Leia sort of took a leave from the New Republic and became sort of one of the leaders in the Resistance. So I think I said this a couple weeks ago, like, why is she all purple? What is a similarity to Mon Mothma with all white? I don't know if the colors can pertain to anything, but just the idea of like she's wearing all the same color and she stands out. So I like that. I really like it because it also kind of solves our problem. It sounds weird to say this. Our problem of what to do without Carrie Fisher. So, yeah, I'm very interested. I think that's a topic we should talk about later on. But, yeah, so that's a little bit of a tidbit on that character. In Belgium, they apparently are... This is just going to add fuel to the fire with the EA argument. But apparently they are banning Battlefront 2 specifically because of loot boxes, because it encourages children to spend money on gambling and get addicted to it, which I get the point. It's not saying all games right at this moment. It's talking mostly about Battlefront 2. I find it very intriguing that they've decided to pick on this one, because if you've played any mobile game, there's always a situation where it's like, oh, do you want more help? Oh, you can give us some more money because the game is free. So I found this very interesting, and of course all the loot box haters out there, or everyone that's been disappointed with that part of Battlefront, are like, see, the Belgians know what's going on. So I feel bad for EA, but yeah, Battlefront 2 might get banned in Belgium. That's
they make great
crazy.
chocolates there, though.
They do. It's very good chocolates. Next story. Terry Gilliam had almost the identical crew to the original Star Wars. In an interview with, what was it? New York Times, I believe. Yes, New York Times, where he was talking about his huge project of Don Quixote and what's the actual title? Don Quixote and whatever, that the Adventures of Don Quixote. No, that's not the title. I'm very excited for that movie as well. They asked him a few questions, and apparently when he was working on his first movie outside of the Monty Python crew, which was Jabberwocky, he was sharing a lot of the same crew with George Lucas for A New Hope, and he mentions that he remembers the crew coming and sort of joking about working on that project because George Lucas was very fresh and he was shooting in a different type of style that they were used to the point they're like, oh, it's just this space movie and da-da-da-da. To the point that Terry Gilliam was surprised when he finally saw Star Wars. He's like, this is that movie they were talking about. And apparently when he's met George Lucas, he told that story. And it's kind of a nice little tidbit because if you've watched anything on George Lucas or just any of the like profound directors of today on their first projects, they're just sort of, some are like, they're like, well, that guy he's a set plan, but he's so very rough, because it's like you just need to learn how to. But anyways, that's a cool thing. Go see the Don Quixote movie. I am actually very excited for that. And in our final story, Harrison Ford is the greatest man on earth because he has several situations where he has helped people out. Recently, he was driving down the California State Road where he saw a woman go into the embankment, and him and a group of other people were able to save her, and while the paramedics were on their way to save her. So he is like a hero. He is like a Indiana Jones or a real life Han Solo. And apparently he's done this before. Apparently on the set of Blade Runner 2049, he rescued dogs on busy highways and broke up a few street brawls, which is pretty sweet that a 7-year-old man is doing all these things. And good on him. And it's just funny that, the Millennium Falcon door fell on him. He was out. Yeah. So interesting stories today. Harrison Ford, I love you. And this has been Hollow News.
Hollow News. All right, before we go on to top 5, I wanted to talk to bring one thing up with everybody. We have a contest going on right now.
Yeah.
The contest runs until December 4th, and this contest is Predict the Last Jedi in 200 words or less. Email us at rebelscumbags@gmail.com what you think will happen in Star Wars The Last Jedi. If there's a tie, we'll do a tiebreaker, but the winners will receive 2 books, one of them being Star Wars Made Easy, and the other one Star Wars Super Graphic by Tim Leong. And Star Wars Made Easy is written by, I have no idea, but it's a beginner's guide to the galaxy far, far away.
I forget what the
awesome.
name is.
And these are, thank you, Jacob Nixon, for sending these in to us. That means you'll also be getting a T-shirt as well. So email us, keep emailing us. We will be looking at them after we see the film, and we will announce the winner. Let me find out for a second. Sorry, give me a second here. We will announce the winner on the week of Christmas week, the week of the 25th, whatever podcast it is, 74, I think it is, something around there. We will announce the winner unless something else happens and it won't work out. And the first week of January, we're going to be doing our ranking Star Wars show again, which is a lot of fun because everyone just argues over the order of Star Wars. Before we go to top 5, also I finished the Battlefront 2 campaign mode.
Ooh, wow.
And the DLC is coming soon for it. And I when I did it, you haven't read the Aftermath books.
No.
This is what I kind of wish Aftermath was more like.
Oh, okay.
In a lot of ways. It was fun, only because they interact with Luke and Leia and stuff like that. So you kind of see that. In Aftermath ends up, Leia ends up in Han, obviously. But Han Solo's beard is pretty sweet, which he has.
Yeah.
I think he has that in Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, he has a beard, and people are like, I don't like the beard. It's like, well, you don't read the books. It's funny because it actually fit in like Rogue One, like a spin-off film. I was telling you earlier. But also it felt like a novel. Like, the story's good. It's not great, which is really a lot of the new canon that we've been getting. Have been good, not great. And that's what it is, And that's how this feels. It is incomplete, but that DLC is coming. And it is short. So if you're going to buy it just for the campaign, I told Andrew, I'm like, Andrew would probably be best if he waited a little bit for it because he doesn't play online and he doesn't like just shooting things, which I do. But if you're going to get it just for the campaign, definitely hold off because it is 5 or 6 hours, which flies by. And I played on super easy. Yeah. And I was so bad. I was flying TIE fighters into debris. It was awesome. But you would love it because there are a lot of X-Wing fights in it.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. All right, let's move on to top 5.
Top 5. What's top 5 today, James?
Today's top 5 are top 5 Luke Skywalker moments.
Ooh,
because he's going to come to an head. Something big is happening with Luke. We don't know what it is. I don't think he's going to pass away in The Last Jedi, but something is happening. So top 5 Luke Skywalker moments. Also, we didn't have much time to plan it, so I figured this would be an easy one to do. My number 5, blowing up the Death Star.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first real act of the Force that he does. So blowing up the Death Star is my number 5.
My number 5 is his meeting with Rey on Octo. Because what a way to end a movie. And you're like, oh.
Talking about cliffhangers.
Yeah.
They're on a cliff.
Hey. Boom. My number 4 is anytime he complains. Which, sorry, Mark Hamill, you do it a lot in the first thing. From, with my blast shield down, how can I fight? To, that's not true. It's impossible. Master Yoda, I am not afraid. Like, it just goes on and on to a point, especially...
I was going to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah, exactly. But you said I could go to the academy. I think you could almost make a drinking game out of it, especially in the New Hope, so...
Hey, does Watto have a last name? His last name should be Tashi.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That'd be dope. That'd be totally. My number 4 is saying he is a Jedi like his father before him.
Ooh. Nice.
Wait. Sprinkle in some Luke.
My number...
Kylo Ren bubbles.
You said that was your number 4.
That was number 4, yeah.
My number 3 will be when he blows up the Death Star, because that's kind of cool. I totally forgot about that.
My number 3 is when he chokes out Gamorrean guards.
Nice.
I love that. Gamorrean guards are one of my favorite creatures, and there's just something about it. And because that's also, if when we were kids watching it, I don't think it ever crossed our minds. I can't speak for you, obviously, but for me, I don't think it ever did. But as an adult, you might go into Return of the Jedi and say, Luke could go evil in this one. And he starts off wearing all black, and he chokes out a Gamorrean guard right away. And you're like, that's not something a Jedi would do. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is when he gets his hand cut off in Empire Strikes Back.
That's amazing. That's mine as well.
Oh, really?
Just that whole sequence in Empire, finding out Vader is his father. And just being completely defeated after, like, we've watched him and we're like, this is our hero. This is our hero. Even though it was always like, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. It's like, no, it's fine. Oh, wait, hold on. It's not the same. I should have had a long sleeve shirt. But yeah, that's my number 2.
My number 1 is a moment that it's a whole sequence of events, but it's a moment that I when I had a pool, I used to recreate in my pool. It's when he executes the plan at Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, and he jumps off on the walking the plank, and he points. I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. Then when I got older, it hurt, so I stopped doing it. But that whole Jabba's palace is one of my favorite parts of all of Star Wars. And when we do our ranking Star Wars, last year a bunch of us had Return of the Jedi number 1, and that Jabba's palace scene and Ewoks is a huge part for me of it all. And I just love the execution when R2 has his lightsaber in him and he tosses it up and he flips and he goes and he uses the green blade. That's number 1.
My number 1 I cannot remember, so I'm gonna go with Luke in a bacta tank. No.
When he made out with his sister.
Maybe I did have Death Star, but I called it Trench Run. But that won't be my number 1. I'm going to go with the final showdown between him and Vader, which was very cool.
Yeah.
And again, like, it's these showdowns between Empire and then Return of the Jedi, where he's like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and he's all in black. It's like he's already evil already. Just the back and forth between him and Vader and the Emperor, and like it was sort of like he does a lot of like flipping around where they're like, okay, so like the Force, you can do stuff with it, but we can't make it happen, but we will in 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, just it's the culmination of the trilogy, and just it's like, wow, this is cool, and he kind of officially becomes a Jedi at that point, I guess.
Yeah, and I would say, there's that talk where I think Kasdan said he wanted Luke to put on the Vader helmet and said, I'm the new Vader. And I'm so glad that didn't happen, because what you just said describes how Luke Skywalker is the hero of the story.
Yeah.
And that's why I also don't think in this new trilogy he can go dark.
No.
He can't go dark. He has to be the hero. He could be a crazy old man hero.
Yeah.
But he has to represent the light side. Yeah, always. Exactly. For all of us. And for all of you.
Amazing.
Did you have fun?
I always have fun when I'm with you, James. It takes me to a galaxy far, far, far away.
Well, it's not that far. You have to go back to work, so we're going to wrap things up right now. Guys, again, if you got any good deals, let me know.
Yeah.
Because I haven't got any. But that's the 69th episode of the Rebel Scum podcast right here. I'm James Rosilla. You can find me at Petzafina, PEZZFINA, or at PEZZFINA if you're down south. Brock, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at CoolGuy69 on JDate, which is the new official Jedi dating site. No, you can find me at BFSmink on Instagram and Twitter.
And that is everything from all of us to all of you. May the force of others be with you.
Hashtag bring back the green.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.